Senator Rosen.
Thank you. I can tell you the young woman who started her career in computer programming in 1980s something, I couldn't dream of what's happening now and would have been so excited about all the things that you're doing or having even been recruited. Of course, none of these things didn't exist in the same way they do now. So I can tell you all those folks are out there, because if the way back clock, if you went back and this was her then, it would have been something that would have excited me, and it still excites me to this day to think about it. Cyber is kinetic capability. It is in the fabric of everything we do. We use it the same as every bit of intelligence and every bit of capability, and it is really important. But I just want to ask, I think the last question I'm going to ask is, how do we leverage security automation tools to defend our DoD networks? We're talking a lot about the pipeline. We know we have more to go, and to recruit and train and figure out how we're blending all of this together so it's seamless in the same ways that we do a lot of our intelligence capabilities, right? But I want to just move for a second. How about security automation tools? So General Hartman, you have to defend those DoD networks. It's fundamental, right? And so I had a provision in the Cyber Defense Command to subordinate to a subordinate unified command included in the FY25 NDAA. It's a structural change that reflects the sophistication of the current threat landscape. So as our adversaries increasingly utilize AI, as we get around this circle about AI, to execute cyber attacks at machine speed, the department's ability to maintain real-time visibility over the DoD information network being tested like never before. So detecting a vulnerability, it's only half the battle, right? You know you have a vulnerability, and now you got to close the door. So it requires a speed that manual process may not be able to achieve. So by deploying security automation tools, can we move from a reactive posture to a proactive defense that keeps China, Russia, other adversaries off our networks? And how are you kind of factoring in this use of automation and AI into Cybercom 2.0 for our developing cyber operators as we defend the network?
Senator, thanks for the question. First of all, thanks for the legislation as it relates to DCDC and a sub-unified command. I assure you General Stanton has taken that legislation and is running with it. Thank you. And certainly implementing that. The use of automation, artificial intelligence in order to secure the Department of War Information Network is absolutely a part of Cybercom 2.0 in our plan for the defense of the DoD. It's not going to entirely take the human out of the loop, but what it is going to do is identify the most important data that our analysts need to look at in order to best protect our network. We've executed a number of pilots. One, I think we previously briefed, called Panoptic Junction, that the Army executed down at Fort Gordon. We are looking at scaling that technology. It was specifically focused about how to find Chinese living off the land techniques that we've seen repeatedly used. The bigger piece, though, is really closing the loop between what we learn in our offensive capability and what our defensive teams are prepared to defend against. And literally in real time, turning around that knowledge, and so that as we learn more, we use that information to drive our own defense of our networks. And artificial intelligence and automation is absolutely 100% part of our plan.
Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind if I add in just one additional comment. One of the things that I'm really excited about with Cyber Command 2.0 is the Cyber Innovation Warfare Center, or the CWIC, which is really looking at how do we adopt all the innovation that is moving very rapidly in this domain, particularly AI and automation, and how do we operationalize that most effectively in the department. So it's not just about acquiring a tool or a technology. There's a lot of non-material aspects that will need to be successful. How do we need to train our workforce to most effectively use that tool? AI is going to change fundamentally what many of our work roles do in this domain. And so how do we develop new training modules? What doctrine, what new tactics, techniques, and procedures do we need to develop to be able to fully leverage these new capabilities? And so the model of the CWIC is to have an innovation warfare center that can look at technologies that are going to have game-changing effects in our domain, bring in the operational input that General Hartman mentioned, and in a very short term, look at how we need to address everything we need to adopt that technology, both material and non-material, and then get that into our platforms as quickly as possible. It'll be our tie to industry. It ties our operational force directly to industry to allow this to happen at the speed at which we're seeing the capabilities come out.
No, I couldn't agree more. Thank you for that answer. I do think artificial intelligence will potentiate what we can do, help us do it faster, maybe a little bit smarter, but it will help us pull it all together. Thank you for that.